He was supposed to protect millions of patients. Instead, he approved the drug that would kill them. And for his silence, he was paid $400,000. 1996, Dr. Curtis Wright is a senior medical reviewer at the FDA. His job? Decide which drugs are safe for the American public. On his desk, an application from Purdue Pharma. A new painkiller called OxyContin, claimed to be revolutionary, less addictive, safe for long-term use. But something doesn't add up. The studies are incomplete. The safety trials are too short. The addiction data looks manipulated. Wright recommends more testing. A year later, OxyContin is approved anyway. And the signature on the approval? His own. 2 years later, he leaves the FDA. Purdue hires him immediately. Salary, $400,000 a year. Over the next 20 years, that drug kills more than 500,000 Americans. The most prescribed painkiller in history, and the most addictive. This is the story of how a company bought a regulator, sold a lie, and walked away with $35 billion, while 500,000 people died. The doctor they paid to stay quiet, $400K, 500,000 deaths. 1995. The Sackler family owns Purdue Pharma, already rich from Valium. But they want more. Their new product, OxyContin, is just oxycodone, a century-old opioid. But Purdue adds a time-release coating. The pill dissolves slowly, supposedly making it less addictive. They claim less than 1% of patients will get addicted. That number? It came from a 5-sentence letter in a 1980 medical journal. Not a study, not research, just one doctor's opinion. But Purdue turns it into a slogan. They print it on pamphlets, repeat it to doctors thousands of times. The FDA approves OxyContin in December 1995. On the label, it says, "Delayed absorption reduces abuse liability." Translation? Less addictive. That line came directly from Dr. Curtis Wright's team. It's false, but it's now official. By 2001, OxyContin earns $1 billion a year, prescribed for back pain, toothaches, even minor injuries. But soon, patients start coming back early, crushing pills, injecting powder, overdosing. Purdue's response? Those patients are drug seekers. And when doctors report addiction problems, Purdue sends sales reps to convince them the opposite. Your patient isn't addicted, their pain is just undertreated. The solution? Higher doses. 1999, Dr. Curtis Wright leaves the FDA. Within weeks, Purdue hires him. Salary, $400,000 a year. His job? Defend OxyContin against safety concerns. The man who approved OxyContin now works for the company selling it. It's called the revolving door. Legal, but deadly. Internal Purdue documents later revealed something shocking. In 1995, before OxyContin was approved, Wright wrote a memo. Data on abuse potential is limited. Recommend longer studies. The FDA ignored it. The drug was approved anyway. And 1 year later, Purdue hired him. By 2000, overdose deaths spike. ERs overflow with OxyContin patients. Purdue knows. In one 1997 email, an executive wrote, "We're getting eaten alive on abuse." But publicly they say nothing. They blame the patients. They invent a new term, pseudo-addiction. They tell doctors that people showing withdrawal symptoms aren't addicted, they just need more OxyContin. By 2003,
OxyContin is America's #1 painkiller and its most abused drug. And inside Purdue, some employees are starting to break. 2001, Purdue sales reps start seeing the truth. Addicted patients, teenagers dying, families destroyed. One rep, Carol Panara, starts writing everything down. Every overdose, every phone call. She tells her manager, "We're creating addicts. We need to stop." His response? "Your job is to sell, not question the product." Carol quits, but she keeps her notes. Federal prosecutors in Virginia begin investigating. The evidence is overwhelming. Purdue knew OxyContin was addictive and lied about it. 2007, Purdue Pharma pleads guilty to federal charges of misbranding. They admit their marketing was false. Fine, $600 million. But Purdue made $35 billion. That's 1.7% of revenue, a parking ticket for mass death. 3 executives charged. Probation only. No jail. Sackler family? Not charged. Curtis Wright? Not charged. Still working at Purdue. Purdue promises to change. Instead, they doubled down. By 2010, OxyContin sales hit $3 billion a year. The addiction wave becomes a tsunami. 2010 to 2016, the crisis goes nuclear. Addicted patients switch to heroin, then to fentanyl, 50 times stronger. Overdose deaths skyrocket. 2010, 38,000 deaths. 2017, 70,000. 2021, 107,000 in 1 year. White pills dissolve into body bags. Aerial shot of endless graves. Meanwhile, the Sacklers start pulling their money out. $11 billion siphoned into offshore trusts, Swiss banks. They see the lawsuits coming. 2019, nearly every U.S. state sues Purdue. Thousands of families join. Internal emails surface. Richard Sackler wrote, "We have to hammer on the abusers. They are the problem." He called overdose victims reckless criminals. September 2019, Purdue declares bankruptcy. But the Sacklers don't. Their billions are protected. Settlement? Purdue pays $8 billion. Sacklers pay $4.5 billion. In exchange, full legal immunity. No one can ever sue them again. Families call it blood money, but the courts call it justice. 2024, the Supreme Court debates if the deal should stand. As of now, it's still undecided. Curtis Wright retired in 2015. No charges, no consequences. 2007. After years of investigation, the truth finally breaks open. Purdue Pharma pleads guilty to misbranding OxyContin. They admit they misled doctors. They hid the risks. The fine, $600 million. Sounds big, right? But Purdue made $35 billion. The Sacklers? Not one of them goes to prison. They simply change strategy. They rename their fortune, build art museums, donate to Ivy League universities. The name Sackler shines on marble walls, while millions of American families bury their children. Then, lawsuits begin. States demand accountability. Families speak out. And one attorney says, "We're not fighting a company. We're fighting an empire." By 2020, Purdue declares bankruptcy. The Sacklers quietly agree to pay billions, but refuse to admit guilt. They still deny responsibility, still say, "We did nothing wrong." But the damage is already done. Over 500,000 people are dead. Entire towns gone. Parents addicted. Children orphaned. And somewhere in a quiet museum, a plaque still says, "The Sackler Wing in honor of philanthropy.
Today, you can still buy OxyContin in America. Different label, same company, same pain. The families still wait for justice. The system that failed them still stands. Dr. Curtis Wright? He went on to work in the pharmaceutical industry for years. No punishment, no guilt, just silence. And maybe that's the real story, that corruption doesn't always look like villains in dark suits. Sometimes it wears a white coat and a smile. Because when money speaks louder than medicine, truth becomes the first casualty. $500,000 gone, one decision, $400,000. And a man who was supposed to protect lives signed away his conscience. This isn't just about OxyContin. It's about how systems bend for power and how easily truth dies when profit wins. Remember the name, Dr. Curtis Wright, the man who approved OxyContin, the man who was paid $400,000, and the man who helped start an epidemic. Sometimes evil doesn't roar, it whispers.